of the Birkat Kohanim, he's saying that everybody has a certain shefa that's waiting for him. Yeah. He says the only thing is we need to know how to bring the shefa down. So he says one of the ways to bring it down is with prayer. That you go pray, but a lot of times we're not so into the prayers. And he gives us different steps of how to bring the shefa down. He says another thing is you notice that people go to a big Talmid Chacham, right? For him to give a blessing. Right? So what does he do? Akazavitz, the Talmid Chacham can bring this shefa a little bit faster. Meaning the shefa is waiting there, right? By your prayers, you didn't affect the shefa to come down. The Talmid Chacham could come and, or when he gives you a blessing, he can make the shefa come down. He cannot create shefa, but he can make the shefa come down. Birkat Kohanim, he says, if a person does not have shefa, Birkat Kohanim has the power to create shefa and bring it down. So I always used to take Birkat Kohanim not so seriously because, What? No, he's talking about the actual, like he said, the Kohanim that are standing.
Don't you have your hand over the kids at the time?
Oh yeah, no, it's okay. You could have the hand. That's okay. It's the thing is, yeah. The thing is, what you have to do is you have to have kavanah. Rabbi Israel makes a little thingy with Yavarechecha, Hashem Ishmarecha, Yair Panavada. So each word has a different, thing that you're supposed to think about. But the unique thing about that is that the Birkat Kohanim, if a person doesn't have shefa, if you go with concentration, and it has to be a real Kohen, because a lot of times you don't know who's real Kohen, not real Kohen. That's why every Birkat Kohanim is important, because you never know which Kohen is the real Kohen. Sometimes Kohanim make themselves puzzle, but they still go up.
Yeah.
They're a halal.
How do you make a puzzle?
Oh, what?
How do you make a puzzle?
If God forbid he marries a divorced woman, or he's with a goya or something like that, he is pasul. No, let's say he drank alcohol or whatever. But he's pasul. Now he's going on every time he's going on and you're blessing, you're like, how come it's not working? Because the guy's not really a Kohen, right? Or he's a pasul Kohen. So but the key to that was that a Kohen has the ability to create shefa, which is it's a big thing. That's why non mizalzel, this Birkat Kohanim, very important that we take this Birkat Kohanim seriously.
If you bring Ashkenazi place, is that
It's a big problem.
Is that where they say Eloheinu? Does that count?
No, that does not count. It has to be through what he was saying with the Kohanim and with the blessing. Okay, so we began yesterday, or should I say last week? We began with what's our mission? What is our mission in this world? And we said that our mission in this world is to live in this world and be able to build our olam haba through performing the mitzvot of Hashem. Why did Hashem give us so many mitzvot, 613 mitzvot? Because He wanted us to connect to Him at each and every point of our lives, from when we said from when we get up, and so on and so forth. He says, however, the Holy One, blessed be He set man in a place where there are many factors that can distance man from Him, blessed be He. And these are specifically the physical desires that are ever present in this world, whose nature is such that someone becomes drawn after them. Meaning, he says he didn't put us here saying, okay, go do the mitzvot. He says, no. He put us down here and he created desires and he created outside factors in order to detract us from doing this. So it's sort of like an unfair situation, but this is what means free choice. Meaning he brings you into this world, and then he gives you a distraction, food, relations, vacations, money, which is the biggest distraction, correct? What's our main goal in life? To make as much money as we can. This making as much money as we can, unfortunately, is the biggest distraction that we are faced with. So he says, he will become steadily more distant from the true good, which, as we have explained, is bonding with Hashem. Meaning, the more he starts to do these physical daily routines, the more he will start getting away from Hashem. It emerges then that man has truly been placed in the middle of the most intense battle. Meaning, for all the circumstances of the world, whether favorable or adverse, are in reality tests for a person to overcome. There's poverty on one side and wealth on the other side. He says a person is poor, he's gonna for sure fail. Why? Because he needs to eat, so he's gonna start stealing. He's gonna start doing things that to benefit himself. However, if a person is rich, now that's even worse than being poor. Why? Because when a person is rich, what is he gonna end up thinking? You know what? I made this all myself. Who's Hashem? I don't even know who Hashem is. Yeah. So he says over here, man is comprised of spiritual soul and a physical body, each with its own desires. By following one's physical desires, one gives his body domination over his soul. Meaning, the more we get into the physical desires, we dominate our spiritual soul. We sort of like cover it up. Yeah? As a result, the more one pursues physical pleasures, the more one will move away from holiness and his true purpose. If, on the other hand, one subjugates his body to his soul and follows a spiritual drive, he will move ever closer to Hashem. This battle, quote unquote, is the constant clash between the soul's desire for intellectual and spiritual growth and the body's desire for physical and mundane pleasures. Should one satisfy his body or soul, his lust or his values? Meaning, this is what we constantly are, battled with. Now, he says, don't eat. No, we have to eat. But we have to eat to a certain measure. Yeah, we can't eat for gluttonous eating. A lot of times, what do? Steak, make shashlik. We get too much of it. Yeah, shashlik once in a while, no problem. But there's people every week they gotta do it. Every other, Tuesday they gotta do it. Yeah. Same thing with vacation. Vacation, absolutely, it's very necessary. But some people take it overboard, doing it every other month, every 2 months. Yeah, to places that they're not supposed to be in. So the more we get into physical desires, the more we're gonna distance ourselves from spirituality. Why? Because technically it's in contrast to what we want to do. Meaning when we want to chill, being spiritual is not such a convenient thing. Yeah, here we want to go out and we want to do this, and all of a sudden what? I gotta go pray, but I don't want to go to minyan, and I don't even want to have time to pray. Yeah, so that's why it's very important that we, as we said last time, what's our ultimate goal? Our ultimate goal is to connect with Hashem and to get a certain level in the world to come. So he says, Ramchal now concludes, he says, now, if the man will be valiant, meaning if he will be strong, and be victorious in his battle on all sides, yeah, he will become a perfect man who will merit to be attracted to his creator in this world. Meaning, he says, a person who's going to be strong, and like I see you boys right now, you boys, I've been watching you for the past couple of years that the domot has been domot. And it's not easy for young boys like you to be able to control yourselves and not to do things that many young people do. You hear? On Shabbat, there's certain rules. There's certain rules about wearing. I see you guys always wearing nice, as Rav Eli Mansour in his Bikiyut Halacha said, today we're going to talk about tzniut. And he was talking about the tzniut of a man. He says, we're not going to mention women at all. He says, there is such a thing as men being tzniut, right? Men wearing clothing that's proper and not too, crazy and so on and so forth. So for you guys that are under 18 years old to be able to, control yourselves and be able to be men at this age, what you're doing is you're actually training your Yetzer Hara. You're controlling him. You have the noose on him. Instead of him having a noose is the rope instead of him having that on you. That's why he says the more you're gonna practice spirituality, yeah, we need physicality, right? You just had sushi, you enjoyed, you kaif, yeah. The more you practice spirituality, the more you will have a hold on physicality. Here, the more you practice physicality, the less you'll have a hold on spirituality. That's why he says a man who's strong, yeah, he will be able to control his Yetzer, and this way he'll be able to attach to his creator in this world, and who then will be able to leave the vestibule, meaning after 120 years, we will leave this world, and we will enter into the reception room, which is the world to come, in the place of ultimate good, to be illuminated with the light of life, the radiance of the Shekhinah. Shekhinah is basically, we cannot explain it, but it's basically this energy of Hashem that we'll be able to to benefit from. And to the extent that he has conquered his evil inclination and physical desires in this world, and has distanced himself from those things that would distance him from the true good, and has instead endeavored to attach himself to Hashem by avoiding all the sins and observing all the mitzvot, to the extent he will achieve that attachment and rejoice with him. Meaning, just the effort that you put here into controlling your evil inclination desires, that's how you are going to get reward in the world to come. Meaning, it's measure for measure. The more you worked on yourself here, the more you're going to get a better, place in the world to come. The less you did here, the less, of course, you're going to get a place to come. He says over here, all the trials and tribulations that one faces in this world are to aid him in reaching the goal of ultimate closeness to Hashem in Olam Haba. To illustrate this idea, Rabbi Yaakov Aryeh Naiman, he cites an observation of the Dubno Magid regarding the Pesach Seder. He says, why are we required to thank Hashem for rescuing us from Egypt, when He is the one who brought us there to begin with? Meaning, well, Hashem, thank you very much for rescuing us from Egypt, but He was the one who brought us there. So why we have to thank Him for rescuing us if He was the one that brought us there? Imagine I take you, I put you in a pit, and then I take you out, you're like, oh, thank you, Mr. Yaakov, thank you for saving me. You just put me into the pit. Why should I have to thank you, yeah? It says, isn't this like a doctor who broke someone's arm and then healed it? Yeah, you're going to tell your doc, oh, doctor, thank you for healing me, the arm that you broke. Maybe. He says, the victim does not owe the doctor any gratitude for healing him. The Maggid answered that at the Seder, we thank Hashem for the tribulations of the Egyptian exile, because in retrospect, we have come to understand that even the suffering was for our ultimate good. You hear what he's saying? He's saying, thank you, Hashem, for putting me into the situation. Why? Because I didn't know that the suffering was good for me. Because it led me to a certain location. It led me to a certain spiritual status that I wouldn't have gotten if you didn't give me the suffering. Now, it's like a doctor who performs open heart surgery. The patient is grateful because he knows that the suffering he endured during the operation was necessary to save his life. Our neighbor recently had a quadruple bypass. They had to cut through his rib cage. They had to open it up, drill his, feet, 2-3 holes to take out the, change the 4 thingies, sort of, put it together. You know how much pain? It's been already 2-3 weeks. He's still in pain, yeli moving, sort of. But what is that? Eventually, it did good for him, because now he's going to be able to live many more years of his life in being physically fit. Yeah? So he says, similarly, it is through life's challenges that we gain closeness with Hashem and reach ultimate happiness. If we were just doing whatever we want to do, basketball, this, that, with no etah, Hashem says, you did not connect with me. It's when Hashem gives you these tests and He pushes you to the point where you cannot. And then you connect with Him by praying, by doing maybe mitzvot better, by giving tzedakah. Our friend over here that he left, he says, I don't understand. Why give 20%? Well, what if it's not going to be enough for me? A person should understand, like Rabbi Yaakov said, Hashem gives a person who's going to give. He knows who's going to give, who's not going to give. So therefore, if you're a giver, Hashem says, I know there's this poor person over there that needs to get money. He can't make money grow on trees. So what does he do? He knows that person X is a giver. So he's going to give person X money, because he knows that this person X is going to give the money to the poor guy, whatever it is. You can never overgive. This is one of the things we have to conquer in ourselves. Me personally, right? We can never overgive tzedakah. You know that if somebody gives $10,000 to tzedakah, let's say there was a campaign, right? And he gave too much, guess what? Hashem has to give it back to him. So he must. You know why? Because you cannot falter.
Well, I pledged, but it's hard to get that 10,000.
No, because there's ulterior, but you know what? You give right away, you're gonna see there's something is gonna happen. At the end of the day, it's not a give and take. Hashem is not a give and take. It's not, I'm gonna give, let me see what I can I'll take, let me see what I can give. It's if
in a natural way.
Yeah, if we are 100% emunah and bitachon in Hashem that what we have cannot be taken away from us. And what we don't have, we don't need. Anything that you give extra is impossible. Meaning, he has to give it back to you. You hear? And that's why it's very important, to answer a guy like that. Well, what if I give 20% and I'm not going to have enough? No. If you're thinking that way, you're not going to have enough. Why? Because Hashem said, let me let him think that way so he can think this world is natural order. This world is not natural order. This world is above nature. Hashem runs the world in nature, kilu, but if you really dip inside, look at it, it's above nature. He makes things go so collected and to the point that all of a sudden you're handed something, you're like, Ibi, how did I get all this? Yeah. So now, having explained that man's purpose in this world is to attain closeness to Hashem, Ramchal proceeds to explain that the entire purpose of the world itself is to enable man to attain this closeness. Meaning this whole, what's our goal? Our goal is to attach to Hashem, to get closer to Hashem as much as possible. He says, so he created the world, this world, in order for us to be able to attach ourselves there. Where I work in Canal Street, Bloody over there, worked there 10 years and never once thought that anybody there was Jewish. It was like, I never had any encounter with Jewishness as far as like customer or whatever. Never any customer said to him, I'm Jewish, I'm this, I'm that. It was like, why? Because he wasn't there. He wasn't there. Meaning, Vladi would never every single day, and my son is a witness, every single day, somebody comes to the point that they say, to me. They come to me. And they say, oh, my mother's Jewish, my father's Jewish, oh, I'm Jewish myself, and this and that, every single day. Yeah? And when I told Vladi, I said, yo, everybody's Jewish. He's like, really? I'm here 10 years. I never met anybody Jewish. I said, and in front of him, he saw some girls, that look like, oh yeah, my mom's Jewish, and he's like, damn, what's that? Because we learn sometimes. Yesterday, a guy comes in, he looks like he's Italian Jack, like never. I would bet my life that he's not that. He comes and says, you got Magen David? I was like, Magen David? I have. I said, well, you Jewish? He's like, yeah. I said, what, both mother and father Jewish? He's like, yeah. I'm like, seriously? So whatever, I showed him what I showed him, and then I say to him, so what's the deal? What level of Jewishness are you? So he goes, listen, I do Yom Kippur, and I do Pesach. I don't eat bread on Pesach. He goes, with the corn syrup, I'll eat food. So he understands that even corn syrup, that's technically, it's kitniot by Ashkenazim. They say it's not kosher, but he even knew this corn syrup kitniot business. And if you look at him, and that's how we are in this world in order to lift this one person up, in order to somehow connect it. Unfortunately, I couldn't connect with him after he left. Then I was like, why didn't I talk to him about whatever? But something was holding me. You hear? So that's why we're in this world in order to be able to connect to Hashem fully. And it begins in your stage, young ones, 10, 11, 12 years old, 16, 15, that we should, no 16, 15? 13, wow, you look like 16. In order for us to be able to connect with Hashem to such a degree that we have a strong hold and we don't let go, and guess what? Then we have to do what Rabbi Yaakov is doing in order to learn and then to teach. Because that's the only way we're going to be able to completely fulfill our mission in this life, where it's lilmod u'lamed, right? We have to learn and to teach, so that everybody else can prosper and connect to Hashem. Baruch Adonai Olam. Amen. Amen.